to design a button, put it in a frame, and I select these two and I drag it inside. All right, because a frame hosts what wherever you are designing Figma, but the cons still apply to frame. If I duplicate this frame, I copy and I paste it, and I change this, that problem still occurs. There's too much spacing here, and the buttons are not the same. Let's say for one reason we haven't very lucky, we create our text, the button text are always the same. But if I come here and let me say we've used this button in so many places across the app, right? And something just happened. My boss just comes and say, you know what, I really like this, but can we update our button color across the app? Let's make it red. I can say this was the first button I created. I make this red. Boom. It's a problem. Only that first button is updated. Every other button is just the state is just in the same state. So how do we solve this? This is where we use framing in Figma. Framing helps you, so framing and components. So framing help us have consistent spacing, consistent styling across whatever we are doing. So once you have a text like this, the first thing is to, let me see if there's okay, it's not here. Okay, so I'll just let us know how to do it. So once you have your shape or your text, once you press Shift A on your Shift A, just hold Shift and A, right? You notice that there's a difference. As immediately I did that, a frame was created. It's called frame 1. And now just to see the difference, what will happen in this right-hand panel. Immediately I did that, we have a new property, which is called auto layout. Auto layout now enables us to set constraint to this our button. I can come to say, okay, the spacing I want for my left and right sections, let's make that let's make that 12. Top and bottom, okay, we can make that 8. But now our button is just a text with no coloring. Now we need to give our frame its color. To do that, we come to this property called fill. When I click on plus, we have our white color now. Let's just give it red, for example. Now we have our frame, and we have corner radius here. Let us style it up a bit. That's too much. Okay, let's give it 4. 4 looks good. Now we have our buttons and frames. So if I copy this, what will happen? I'm writing let me just A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P. See, it's working in the same constraint with what we had before. For that, so that challenge we had previously with groupings and framing, it doesn't apply here. So this will work as long as we are still using this frame. But now we've not solved all of the issues. We still have one thing. If these are two different buttons, I change the color for this button, it's still not affecting this button. I wanted that whenever I update one of them, it should affect all of them. How do I do that? Now we create a component. So I want us to remember the steps. The first thing, you create a frame, and from your frame, you create a component. To create a component, I click on my frame, and I can either right click and say create components. Once I do this, a component has been created for that frame. And now I'll edit the properties of this component. Well, but before I do that, I just want to show us how it affects. So now I do this. I change this to anything it's affected. It doesn't matter how many times I've used this button across. Doesn't matter how many times I've used this button across the application, as long as this is the alga. If the alga button say you are blue, everybody's purple. Say you are green, everybody's green, right? But now, once we have our component, we need to now define um, some certain fields in our button. For example, our text. Our text currently now is called button, and this is our rectangle. This is a very simple button. So let's complicate this button a bit. And now let's create a button. button button here. I need to place an icon. So right, remember I told us of plugins. Plugins are really helpful. Me, I use plugins a lot. I haven't saved this guy. This is one of my favorite icon pack, phosphor icons. So once I click on phosphor icons, it brings out a library of icons that I can use. So I can come here, let me just select anyone random. I drag and drop it here. I can reduce the size. Let's make this 16 right here. Now, whenever you're aligning items on your Figma, it's possible to move them around and make sure and see that, hey, this is at the middle. But there's a simpler way to do it. You don't even need to move them. Just select both of them. By the top here, we have our different alignment tools. This to align both of them to the side. I don't want that. This to align both of them to the to the um to the middle alignment. I don't want that either. That's not what we want. This align both of them to the top. Well, it looks good, but that's not what we want. We want to align them to the horizontal middle. Oh, sorry, vertical centers. It's horizontal. Interesting. Okay. Vertical center. So when I do this, both of them are aligned the way I want them to be. And now once I have both of them like this, I create my frame. Sorry. The first thing is I frame my icon first. I frame my icon, then I frame my button. I have two frames now, which I should align together. They are not currently of the same height. It's 35. Okay, they are the same height now. 35, 35. Okay, so once I have this, I select both of them and I frame them. The reason why I'm doing is this. I'll show us the reason why. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, and if you make any mistake in Figma, you can just Ctrl Z on your system and you'll go back to where you're coming from. Okay, I increase my height by 12. Let's make this okay. Let's make our height 8, and I'll go through this process very fast. Copy on it. Then now we need to we need to create our components. And now for this button, now we now create a Boolean property for this button, right? I don't want the name to scare us. Boolean is sounding very cool and technical, like it's just the creators of Figma. When this only happens when you create a component. When you create a component, you click on one of the layers, you can create your property. So I can say this as icon, and my value should be true. I've created a property. Nothing changes, but I'll show you how it changes. Then we have our button, this layer. I'll create a new property. I'll call it text. The value should be true. Now, when I do this, I want us to say something. When immediately I've set my state and I duplicate a button away from the master button, a new set of properties are now displayed for me. Icon and text. Those properties we've set to true before. So now if we are creating so many buttons, this is our master button, but you are creating a button that doesn't need an icon. You have to create another component button. You necessarily do not need to do that. You can configure everything from your master button here. So I can set my icon to be false, and I have my regular text button. And from your master button, the very interesting thing about using components, because this is really important, and I think in a way it kind of just distinguishes the designers apart. When you fully master the use of components, your layout and styling in your design, I think that will take us really, really far. I think from my end, I'm still learning so much. Figma introduced some really amazing features recently. I've not even started learning them, but I think for that, I'll just take a class on it to learn what all that's happening there. But the interesting thing is this: if I duplicate these two buttons, for example, now, and I see icon here, but now I'm thinking, for this particular button, I don't want my icon by the left. Let me say it's something that says go, go here. And I want to give it like an arrow that is pointing by this side. But you will notice a component doesn't allow you to modify it because it's a component. For you to do any modification, you need to come to the master component. So how do we do that? For master component, we can edit, add another icon. For this icon, we can set its own layer property to say right icon, set this to be true. And then when I come here, I can disable left icon and we just have right icon. So this is a built-in component. This is a built-in auto layouting. I'm taking so much time to explain this because from the other steps that will take, it will just be a breeze for us as we've had understanding of what is happening here. Okay. Let me delete this. So for our buttons, I'll just make a very simple button. So this is what I'll do. Please bear with me. I will just speed run and create or rather add some icons into our into our file here. Just give me a second. Oh, should I add? Okay. Info. Naturally, when you are doing this, you can download this entire icon pack, use your Figma, set the variables and all of that. But we have, I think, like 2 hours left. So I just want to is. I'm sorry, guys. In the course of this, our app design, some of our icons will be limited because I am already trying to get the required one, so I don't take much of our time. But I mean, if we have any question regarding auto layout and component for now, please let me know before we proceed to the next step. Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Um, I'm sorry, I need to go backwards. I'm trying to understand how you got the buttons, that the triangular shape under the text. The text is just characters, but how did you get the shape?
The shape. Okay. Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. Okay. I think, guys, please, again, you guys will please forgive me, but these are all the icons that I'll be using for this session. They are very limited, and I know. So that will just make our app Fast. Okay, now in Figma also, when you have items like this and you want to space all of them equally, you necessarily do not have to go to them one by one to say, hey, this should be 8. This should be 8 now. You can just select all of them. By the top right here, there is something called more option. When you click on it, you have distribute vertically, distribute horizontally. Once I distribute horizontally, they are all spaced equally. But depending on how you want them to be spaced, I can now come here and set it to 12. So they are all spaced 12 px across each other. All right. So this is what I will do. I will all these icons. So how to use, so basically this is how you use icons in your design system. You bring all the icons that you want to use and you put them in a when you select them like this, you come to the top, there's something called create components. It's create multiple components, create component set. Now, depending on what you select, that's what Figma will give you. If you select component, Figma is I'm having the impression that, hey, okay, you know what you're doing, you are creating one single component, but that's not what we want. And I'll tell you why we are doing a component set. So you select component set and it creates this for you. If you notice, it's different from this a component, the way they are styled are different. This lets us know that hey, there are list of items inside this component. So this is what we'll do. We'll name our component. Let me call this photo and name perfectly. Fantastic. So now this is why we do a component set. If I do create copy one out of that component set, I can easily now come here to see this guy. I don't want you anymore. Let me change it to heart. Let me change it to user, change it to this, change it to this. So you can just be changing your icons as the case may be. All right. So this is our icon component set. That's what we use. So right, let me answer your question now. How we got the rectangle. So when you have a button, you hit Shift A. Shift A creates our frame. A frame automatically is a rectangle, so you necessarily do not need to draw another rectangle to be part of your button. All right. So once you create a frame, you automatically have your rectangle. Then you come to fill. In fill, we click on the plus, select the color and add our color. Okay. Did that clarify the question?
Not really. Does that
Okay.
mean the frame? I'm using the system here to check how to get the
Yeah.
button, the shape. You click on the frame and it gives you the shape, the button shape immediately.
Yes, just click Shift A. It automatically give you the rectangle shape.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. So this is what we'll do. We'll create our buttons now. But bear with me, before we create our buttons, there are some things we need to do before the buttons. I mean, that's why design is very interesting. There are steps that need to be taken. But I mean, you can do them. Depends on you actually. You can actually do them on your own flow. But me, I just like doing it this way, so it's cleaner. Yes, please go ahead.
Um, sorry, I just noticed what you did with the frame shift A now. But
Yes.
if you were to curve the edges to look like a curved button, can you do it with the framed button instead of
Most Most definitely, yes. So this our frame, for example, now, right, is actually sharp, right? We don't want sharp. Maybe we want it to be curved. So click on your frame or click on your layout. By this right panel, you see something like a curve. It's called corner radius. You can increase it or you drag This as I'm dragging is curving my button.
Thank you. I've seen it. Thank you.
Yes, most welcome. All right. So the first thing now is for us to define our font style. So let me just do this. Let's say the first one, we'll call it um, mobile big. Mobile big, we'll call this, okay, mobile big header. Let me be precise. Um, uh, mobile big, we'll call this um, button, button big. We'll call this button, button small. Then we can call this body. So body just means like your regular text, what you use to write the information, that like text in the app generally, that is not a button or a header. But it's small, then I can just say footer. Yeah, let's work with this. Now this font that we are using here is Inter. Well, some of you might like Inter, some of you might not like Inter. I mean, I love Inter. It's a very neat font. There's not much to do, but you can actually change it if you don't like it. So let's change our font now. Let's give let's make our font to be giving what it needs to give. I'm just saying this guy looks interesting. Okay. But in Figma, whenever you are hovering around any font, you notice the font is changing so that you just be seeing it in real time, what you want. Or not to waste, because I mean, there are so many fonts here. All these fonts are coming from Google. You can install your fonts. Once you see any font you like on the internet across any platform, you can download it, install it, and to reflect in Figma. But I actually have one font that I like, Gilroy. It's just giving. So don't mind me. So we have this. Then our body. I don't want our body to be bold. So I'll make our body regular. Then our buttons. You know what? Let me create variations of our buttons. See? So what I'm doing now is I'm setting our design system. So our buttons, we can have two types of button. I can have the bold type, or I can have the medium type. Right. So once you've done this, now you need to define your text, your font styling. So the method I'm using now, there are two ways to do this thing. So one, when I click on this, I can either come here to, or rather I can come on Figma to set something called local variables. So I can do this, set my font, but I won't use this today because about some, well, this feature is if you are not on the paid Figma, if the feature is limited. So I'll use the functions for the free version. It still works. It works similar to how the local variable works. So when you click on your font, for example, yeah, you click on this and this button here, this thing that looks like four dots. Click on it. When you click on it, you see something called text styles. There's a plus button. Click on the plus button. Now we'll name this mobile big header, and I'll say create style. As I've done that, you notice a difference. The difference is this: for this that we have not made a style, it's called Gilroy Bold 12. For this, we've made a style. Now that property has been updated to just the name of this. So what that means is whenever so we understand that design is consistency. Your design has to be consistent across board. So if I'm using this same text across everywhere. There will not be a point it will be smaller than this or bigger than this, but this particular text, I can choose to now reduce it here. That's not what we want. If we want a smaller text size, then you define your text size. All right. So we have defined this. Let me just be fast and get this on. So mobile, just do this medium, and say bold here, so that the naming should just be very clear to us. Right. Okay. Moderator, please. I think I'll need your help. When it's 12:30, you can let me know. So I'll just be working with time. Okay. So now for our mobile big, I'll just copy this. Click new style, add. I'll do this really fast. Please bear with me. But it's the same process. I click on this. It can be very tiring and tedious sometimes, but trust me, is worth the stress. I mean, as I'm doing this, I'll just be talking on what design systems. Design systems can be big or it can be very small. For this project we are working on now, we'll create a small. In fact, I won't call it a design system, but I mean it's a design system, but it's a smaller version that we can use. Naturally, design system can be very big. It ranges from every property that you use in the app. Like this Figma that we are seeing, for example, now everything here is designed in design system. I think some companies release their design system publicly. For Apple, for example, they release their design system publicly. I've gone through their system. Is really nice. Trust me. So now, as we've done our text, you notice when I come here, we have something called local styles now. These are all our texts that we've defined. So we'll define two local styles, text and color. Now let's delve into color. I'm not an AI, I'm a real person. I'm using delve. So so yeah, so let's just define some colors. Okay, let's use find local color. Yes, find local. Find local already similar to this, but I think I'll just tint it up a bit. Okay, primary, how many colors should we use? 1, 2, 3. I think 4 is very okay. I don't need, in fact, we are using just 2 colors. Okay, red and half. Red oh, okay. We have color theories to still this. Are very interesting. I can use this red, for example, and it might be like this, but sometimes this same red, it can look something like this. It's a red, but a tinted version of red. How do we do that? That is something called shading. Again, plugins. Plugins are very helpful. Trying to remember the name. Yeah, this is color shade. Cool. So I'll run color shades now, and this will happen. This color code, I'll just copy it, paste it here, and I have my color shades. I'll create this. Fantastic. Then I will run the same thing for my yellow. I mean, ideally, you can create this color shades yourself, or can either do it yourself or plugins can help you. Depends. But we don't need all these color shades currently. I think we'll just need 5. So we'll define the 5 that we need. I think 10. You know what? We'll just work with the even numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This colors looks interesting. But let me delete this. I'll be 0.5. I don't need you. What just happened? Okay.
Zoje, I don't know if you can hear me. You might
Very
need
well.
to check your inbox on WhatsApp. You have a notification, please.
Okay. So, all right. Fantastic. So I'll just I'll just be fast with this. But please, right? Everyone on the call, I want us to let us know that Find Worker, the tech campus, they have a training academy where we train number of courses from front end, back end, data design, and also product design. So in the academy, you can please sign up for the academy to learn more on in-depth, because what I'm doing now, they are surface level. They are more in-depth learnings that you can have when you sign up for the Find Worker Academy, basically. So please, I think Modube will share the link and the resources for us to sign up on that. All right. So I'll just do this quickly. So we have, let me just generate 1, 2. I'll just use 2 for now. Fantastic. This is what I will do. Bam. Bam. Right. So we'll have this. Now our color style, we'll do our color style like our text, right? I come here, click on the sorry. Click on this and I add my color style. Let me do this primary red. All right. I do this. I call it primary yellow. Do this. I call it secondary yellow. I do this and I call it secondary red. Fantastic. Now we have our colors. We have our texts. Ladies and gentlemen, we are good to go. Okay. So now I come here, enter my button here. Now these things will define. How do you now use them in your design? I've just been defining font, color. How do you use them? When I click on this, for example, you come to this text. Now you see your text styles. I just click on this. Bam, I have my color. We all familiar how to create frames. Hit Shift A. Okay, before I do that, let me add my icon. Copy my icon. I bring it here. Let me reduce the size to 18. Remember how we align vertical. Remember how to space. In fact, the spacing is not required because framing will do that. In fact, you don't need to do that, sir. Just hit Shift A and you have your frame. Let's make the top 8, the bottom 12. This is the spacing. I reduce this to 8. To use your color, similar with the text also, I click, instead of clicking on plus now, I click on this and I have my colors. I hit red. My frame, let's make our frame. Okay. I don't want this frame anymore. So we create our components. We'll call this, remember how we defined our layers? We'll call this text. Our text is set as true. Remember how we define, layer create property. So this icon, let me just do one more. I'll remove this and do right icon. Fantastic. Now, I love curved buttons also. Let's cover buttons so it's interesting. Cool. So we have this. So this is what I would do. Now, when you create a master component, note you do not create variations from you create variation from your master. So when you click on your master now, instead of you seeing create component, you are seeing a plus. It's called add variant. So when you click on add variant, you have created a variant from that master. You're automatically creating a component set, right? But this is what I would do. I want my master to be intact. I don't like disturbing it. So this is what I would do. I just create 1, 2, 3. I'll select all of them. Remember, if you want the component set, hit create component set. Now, this will be my primary button. Primary button. This will be secondary, and this will be tertiary. But all of them look the same right now. How do you differentiate them? First of all, I click on this, I remove my right icon here, remove my right icon here. See, like our life is just so easy now. We are not manually doing anything again. I come here, my color is primary red. I don't like it. I want secondary red. You see, like life is just sweet, man. Right. Oh, we need to define our base color. So naturally, you also define your base colors. Base colors are your white, your black, your gray. Those are very important. No matter the product that you are working on, you need to use those colors. But for the purpose of time, let me just save it. My white and make my whites. In fact, why am I making them black? It should work with red. Then for tertiary, it's tertiary. So our whites, make our white red. Our red will be our black, should be red. But now this is what we'll do. Our frame is filled with red. I don't want it filled. I will remove the fill and add a stroke red color. So now buttons are fantastically done. This is what we'll do. Once you have this, remember you create your master. From your master, you copy to make variants. Now, from these variants you've done, you copy out of it. And ladies and gentlemen, we are good. So this is what we'll do. Once we have our button, there's a field here now called the component. So I can easily just be switching it around because I'm using it in my application. Let's create a frame now. Remember, hit frame. We'll see our phone type, iPhone 13. And once I put my button here, we are good to go. So if I do this, so I'll just run, but just to confirm, right, this class an introduction to Figma, because there's so much to learn in Figma. There's so much to learn in Figma, trust me. And learning how to use these tools properly will really change the trajectory of your design career. That's why it's very important. After this class, please speak to Modupe and please sign up for the Fandoc Academy. So I'll just go through this as fast as possible. First thing, let's make this interesting. We create a rectangle. All right. Let's do this. So for me to know the spacing across, you see all these red that are coming up. For me to see them, I'm holding Option. If you're using a MacBook, to be Option. If you're using a Windows, to be alternate. So this is the thing. Create your shape. Click on it first. Then hover where, because if you notice my mouse is outside the frame, I'm clicking on it. It's not working. So right. So maybe if you are doing it, your mouse is there and you're wondering why it's not working. That's why it's not working. For it to work, select your frame, hover your mouse within that frame you want to see the alignment and click on it. See? Outside, inside, outside, inside. Now it's not showing for button. If I want to see spacing between this and the button, I hover. So just how you hover your mouse, that will define it. Okay, cool. So I do this. Let me do this, and I do this. Cool. Let me curve this because curved things always look finer. I bring this button here. It's at the back now. Do you remember how to bring from the back? Right click. I say bring to front. It's at the front now. Now, next thing, we have our text. Hello. We've already defined our text. So this is small. I don't want small. I want it big. But we didn't define how big we want our text to be. So you can come here now, say, give this guy 32. Fantastic. So it will be hello, here's OJ. Welcome to Find Worker. Okay. If it's too big also, can define it here. Gives it, and make it 24. Oh, sorry. Okay, cool. So we can add our picture here, how we want it to be. We would, again, plugins. Plugins are the savings, making life easy. There are so many you can use. Me, I love using Unsplash. Unsplash is a free photo repository. So I mean, so whatever picture you're using on Splash here, don't worry, nobody will sue you. They have something called Creative Commons license. So in the design space, there's something called Creative Commons. Once any resource has Creative Commons, it means it can be used by anyone in the community for personal and commercial purpose. So I'll just select one of the image here. Cool, our image has been set. And then drag this down a bit. Okay. And then you can have something like sections, let's say courses. All right, let's reduce this a bit. No, that's too small. Oh, we didn't. Okay. So I'm aligning this right. I select both of them. I click on align right. Now, I want us to understand that what we have done now is called auto layouting for buttons. After this class, please there are other auto layoutings that you do for cards, for drop downs, for navigation, for literally every single thing you do. So it just makes your life very easy. Someone's hand is up. Please go ahead.
All right, Zoje, we have about 2 more minutes to the end of your session with us this morning. I just hope that you can get a round of before then.
Okay, awesome. All right, then. Thank you. All right, so we have our courses. So like I said, right? The cards will also be an auto layout component so that you can reuse it across your application. The way we have our buttons now here, this is done very nicely. Instead of us to, and once I do this here, I come here, for example, I say I don't want it red, I want it yellow. It's affecting everywhere. All right, because I'm trying to give us like a clue. So naturally, your design file as big as this, you have so many screens everywhere. It will only be ideal for any designer to start designing updating the button from here, come back to here, come back to here. And it will be exhausting for you and the developer and everybody you are working with. So this is really important. So just for the sake of time, I'll stop introduction to Figma here today, and I will continue on the slide now just to round up. Okay. But please, before I go back to this slide, do we have any questions to Figma? The name of the plugin I got those icons is called Phosphor. I'll write it down. Phosphor icons. But you can search on Figma plugin. There are so many that you can use. I think I'll just share them. Phosphor icons on Splash. Which other one did I use? And color sheets. Those three. All right. So I'll share another window now. Yeah. So basically, it really doesn't matter. I was saying in Figma, whatever I've done in Figma now, you can do that in um Adobe XD, or I'm sharing my screen again. You can do that in Adobe XD, or you can do that in Sketch or any application. All right. Color theory, as we've seen in the design, color theories are important. They affect how we view a brand, how we how it shapes the it affects how we shape the brand. It affects um how we share emotion in a particular product. If you are making a payment, for example, now I wouldn't want the color to be very sparkling red to tell me pay now. You know, it's not giving the right the right emotion for me. So it impacts accessibility. There's something called WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guideline. Please, you can study on that. It helps understand the accessibility level of your website. It can a website application, any digital design, as the case may be. Things need to be accessible, need to be legible for users. How you use colors are very important. If you use a very light shade of gray and users are not seeing it, it's not very accessible and good for the product. Yeah, so in a sense, colors affect usability and experience, and I think eventually creates visual appeal. Because I think for a fintech product, for example, you can some of us have either used them um, for be it our traditional banking or fintech product. You might see a stark differences between them, how they um how they use colors to create the appeal for their users. Now, FAQs for colors, right? These are some of the most asked questions. How do I choose the right color for my product, for my app? Well, in a sense, it's a combination of many things. Um, it can be um, based on your brand personality, target audience, the emotion you want to evoke. And I mean, if you are not even really sure about this, most of the time, the colors come from the brand team. Colors are a predefined shared to you and you now use. But there are some rare instances where you are given the mandate to define the color for that product. So how do you do that? So these are the
Hi, Sanjay.
yes, please.
It's time for question and answers.
Let me take 3 more minutes.
Because we need to round off at 12.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just take it to 11:45. So yeah, so how to combine your designs, how can I use color combination in your design? Stick with web content accessibility guidelines, make your colors legible, create a sense of hierarchy for your products. As a designer, what opportunities do you have? Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting, to be honest. You can either be a web mobile designer, product designer, user researcher, design strategist or consultant or creative director. I mean, there's so much you can do. You can work within any institution, any agency, or any product focused company. Just to be clear, right? We've seen a lot of things. Sometimes you can see online, you say I'm a UI UX designer, I just want to say I'm a UI designer, I just want to say I'm a product designer. Like, what's happening? What are the differences between these terms? So essentially, well, it's sometimes it might not be very clear. It depends on the company, but ideally, UI UX they are mostly found within agencies, right? So when you work in an agency, it will most likely well, a UI UX designer. That is, but if the agency has their own product, now you can also be a product designer. So it varies. UI UX design is like you're focused on the UI, the experience for the product. Product design, you kind of have the entire everything from research to ideation, the entire product strategy. Like it's responsible. You are responsible for it, for keeping that product alive. Then the more skills you must have as a designer. I mean, these are just limited. There are so many other soft and hard skills I can have. I mean, visual design is a given. If you are a designer, the visual design needs to it needs to give what it needs to give. All right. The research, how do you research? Your technical skills, understanding how code even works in your design, communicate and collaborate with people, your team, stakeholders, and all of that. To position yourself, right? You might either be starting out now or you might have some experience. Be portfolio ready. Whenever you need to recognize yourself as a designer, they need to you need to show proof. It's not just enough to say, hey, I've worked with Sterling Bank, I designed the one bank, I work with Stanbic, I've done this. Oh yeah, I know. Thank you very much. But how can I verify, right? Have that your portfolio ready. Have the required knowledge. Network with people. All right, networking, as we all know, is a key for anything we're working on, right? If you don't have any project at all, right? Say you might be thinking like, guy, I've not worked in any company, I don't have any project. Create your mini project. For me, for example, that's exactly what I did. When I started my career in UI UX, I didn't have a product that was live already. I took my time. I think I did it for a year, right? I was just carrying out all the processes, researching. I created my mini project. I created my case study, and that's what I used to project myself. Modupe, up on time. Okay. All right. But I think that's it. Right? Just find your niche, find the industry you like to work with, and the myth. Well, hopefully, yeah, the myths are demystified for you already. Design tools are not the important thing,
Hi,
right?
CJ.
Yes. Okay. Let's
You
take the
need
question.
me to answer some questions before you leave.
Okay. Okay.
One of which is someone says, for instance, I complete the UI UX design course on Fine Work and I become an entry-level UX designer. How do I place myself in the marketplace to get opportunities? And how is my portfolio supposed to look like as an entry level? Is it okay to be a Figma prototype link?
So yeah, so basically about that, right? So I think that's why I spoke on the been the yellow. If you don't have a case study, create your mini project, but your mini project should be a case study. What case studies think is, because to be very honest, there's something called design systems. Design systems, they are public online, right? Like I told you, Apple have their design system online. I can use their design and do design. But what a case study speaks to is how you are thinking about what you did. If you are building a future, my transaction screen, they were able to do this, they were able to put number before they saw the account number to do this. Why did you do it? Naturally not interested in the UI. The UI is very good, don't get me wrong, but understanding your thinking process is the most important part, because I think ideally that is what any hiring manager would like to see.
Okay, thank you. There's another question here, but I think Mudupe would answer that question. So it says, this question is from Chinaza. I understand the course entails the data science, backend, front end, and blah, blah, blah. Could you throw more light on what the program would be like?
Yeah, Modupe.
All right. Thank you very much, Edima. And then to quickly answer that, Chinasa, we, of course, like you mentioned, we have various training programs, and it's a physical class program. All right. Our workshops are mostly not so physical. Sometimes we do virtual, like we just add this one, and other times we do physical class, depending on the situation at hand. But our main training programs are physical, and it runs, I think, 3 times a week, 2 days physical and 1 day virtual. So that's just to make it easy for everyone to be able to participate effectively and also learn to collaborate, online. So our tech campus is at Yaba, and You can visit us anytime to, enroll or make more inquiries. So our physical class holds there at the Tech Campus headquarters there in Yaba. You can also check our website, findworker.com, or follow us. Like I earlier mentioned before this meeting comments, that we all should ensure that we are following us on all our social media platforms, because there you get updates, you get opportunities, we run giveaways, and then we throw, we shed more light into certain areas that are mostly not clear to newbies in tech. So that's that about that.
All right, thank you, Mudipe. There's another question here from Agbayewa Titi Layo. He says, I think it's for Soji. He says, regarding hierarchy, if I'm trying to design a mobile app, for instance, some texts tend to be too small in the course of designing the app. Can I use a different text size for some features below, like a bigger text? Will that not go against the hierarchy principle?
No, no. So to clarify, right, the hierarchy principle for text is how what you want users to focus on. Give, for example, this screen that I'm presenting now. The first thing you probably see is we're pushing pixel alone, do it for me. And the last thing you might see is my name and probably even the date by the bottom right, right? So it depends on what you want to present to the user. I think it's definitely fine. Yeah, definitely fine. You can use big, small text as the size maybe, but you now define what is the purpose of that hierarchy.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that Titilai understands what she just said. To crown or to, crown everything that we have said today, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for honoring our invites. Thank you, Esoj, for this very beautiful presentation. We enjoyed, having you here. And, a lot of us have gotten a hang of what UI UX and product design is about. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. For the rest of you who have questions and you are on the WhatsApp group, you can just leave your questions there. We're going to leave it open for the rest of today so that you can ask questions, and maybe the questions can be forwarded to ASOJ and would give you comprehensive responses. Thank you. We appreciate you for your time. And for everyone here also, there's something I think I forgot to mention about our classes, our there's 10% discount, when you register for any of our courses. If you need to find out, if you need to get more, because of time, we might not be able to go over all of that. But if you need any questions with regards to our courses and registrations and everything, you can just reach out to us on our WhatsApp number and leave a message on the WhatsApp group if you're already on the group. Modipe, please go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to mention very quickly, we sort of started to do this towards the end of the class, that before you leave, just let us know where you're joining us from. Just drop your location in the chat box. Let's know where you're joining us from. That's all from my end.
All right. So, Modipe, is it okay to round off the meeting?
Of course, it is. It is.
Okay. So, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. I hope that this 2 hours of presentation was beautiful and it added some things to your lives. Thank you very much. We're grateful. Thanks for having us. Thanks for your patience. Sorry about the bad network. And we'll do this again. Thank you. Bye for now.